Hi everyone, I'm Alex Nottingham with All-Star Dental Academy. Thank you all for coming. We have Tom White here with us, our marketing guru, and we have Heather Nottingham on Twitter providing a live summary, so you can follow her, you can interact with her at Twitter, and it's the @ Dental All-Stars. So if you have not downloaded the worksheet today for our expert, you can get it at allstarda.com. That's a short, or All-Star Dental Academy, but you can make it shorter, just saying allstarda, the initials.com/worksheet, and you can go and download the worksheet, follow along. You'll have some of the questions we're going to be asking Rhonda, our guest, in a moment, and some of the material there. So our guest today is Rhonda Mullins. Rhonda is the past president of the Georgia Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry and a speaker, consultant, and inspirer. As CEO of Row Global, Inc., an Atlanta-based firm, she serves and instructs dental professionals to work and play all out to achieve an optimum outcome in all aspects of their lives. Rhonda will be talking with us about how to achieve a culture of success in a dental practice and how that will help support the practice through times of change. She will explore with us processes and methods that lead to a profitable, balanced business that provides outstanding service to patients. Rhonda, welcome.
Well, thank you, Alex. What a wonderful opportunity to share a little bit of knowledge with people that love what we do. So thank you for having me. I'd like to introduce my audience to just a quick little PowerPoint that will allow you guys to really sort of get fundamental chunks of what gives you sustainability through transition. And transition, you know, in our world usually means acquisition, a purchase of a practice, a sale of a practice, a merger, bringing in an associate of sort. But it could also mean transitioning the culture within an existing operation, which could be as challenging as integrating a whole nother set of modules. So I hope to be able to touch on both entities, and I hope that some of you have questions that maybe pertain to your own environment or situations that you might need a solution for. So thank you for having me, and let me get going. The driving momentum today, the future of dentistry, what I see and experience from my own clients and across this country. I consult from the East to the West Coast. Most of my clients are in the top 10% of the industry. And I've had exposure to corporate structure as well as independent practitioners striving to, you know, make a difference and in not only in patient care outcome, but also in their business profitability. So that is what I see the future heading toward. The corporate structure has been in existence for a long time. This is nothing new. It's just coming more to the forefront by companies that, you know, are acquiring pretty renowned practices around the country, which gives them greater notoriety and an exit strategy to those doctors who have owned, you know, practices for many years. And that's a way for them to have an exit strategy and maybe continue to practice if they want to under an umbrella of sorts. So that is first and foremost the conversation that I hear in the industry by individuals and by dental, you know, associations. The association I headed up as president this past year is an affiliate to the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. And although we're a young organization, in the last 5 years, we've set ourselves apart by having renowned clinicians come to Georgia to contribute to our dentists here in this state and some in the Southeast. So we're excited about that, but the conversation is still the same. What is the trend? Where are we going? How do I keep doing what I love to do? And how do I keep my edge from the competition? So the Make a Practice model is something that works for some people and may not work for another. So I look at a corporate strategy and like companies like Heartland Dental or Aspen or many of the other ones that have been around for years, Coast Dental and many others, that is something that started a long time ago, still is in existence, and it may be on the rise due to an exit strategy that some dentists need. And some young dentists need coming into the industry to craft their talents and to retire their school debt and to have an income and make a living right off the bat. So there is a purpose for them. And then the other driving momentum is dentists that have cultivated clinical excellence, and they are striving to develop multidisciplinary care teams within the scope of their practice, meaning some specialists come, serve the patient in one location, and they're part of that general practice to provide care to the patient for the optimum outcome of the patient's expectations with a lot of disruption. There's positive things to that, as well as the other entity, and that is there's clear communication, there's collaboration on the cases, and it's more relational than anything. And I think my experience in working with doctors that we've established that within their practices, the patients are very, very satisfied, and they're more than willing to invest in what they want. And I think that's the biggest facade right now, and that is about affordability. I think, like the world, there are customers that can't afford it and don't have out-of-pocket expense that they can, freely give, and that is why the corporate entity works. They have some benefits. They want to use those benefits. And then there are customers that do have the affluency to make that investment, and they're at the age that they're choosing to do that. So I believe those are the two driving forces in the models that we are dealing with in dentistry today. Unlike medical, I think we're very fortunate. I think that dentists and the corporate group as dental professionals across the country have made good choices, even though they're diversified. And like any business in transition, there's 4 fundamentals that clearly lay out a strategy and a positive outcome. If you stick to these 4 fundamentals, a clear vision, practical systems, strategic solutions, and consistent execution, you will always equal the right transition move, no matter if it's big or small. And I'd like to sort of take you through these fundamentals and relate them to practice transition as a whole, and then that way everybody can sort of question and even define these 4 elements and these 4 fundamentals in your own business or in your own practice, and that's really what makes it work. We talk about vision. Everybody always talks about it. Everybody says, yes, I have a vision, but if it's clearly defined of where you're headed, people can't follow someone that's not leading. And I believe that if a leader truly continues to cultivate and define the vision in a clear manner consistently and continues to cast that vision to the people that have to create the momentum to get you there, there is no reason why you can't obtain that. It is the North Star of where everyone should be headed. And if you're not sure how to do that in your situation, there are easy steps. And these are it. Casting the future. People want to know where they're going if they're with you. People strive to be attached and be a part of something. It's sort of like you got to create your own tribe that's going to follow you and take you there and be a part of it. And clearly and visibly, you need to paint a picture for them of what the top of this looks like. So if you're a practitioner or you're on a team in an office and you're not sure where it's going or if it's going or if there's any changes coming, it would be important to ask questions. Ask instead of tell, and ask questions that relate to how can you participate in order to make it different, in order to make a difference. That's the actionable part, and take ownership of in some capacity so that everyone on the team knows what they can count on. And that goes for the leader. Your people need to know what they can count on from you, and it's really not a paycheck. It's purpose. And it's really clear to them that once that's laid out, they love it. They'll grab it, eat it, swallow it, digest it. They'll take the ball and they'll get you there faster than you could ever think about it. Descriptively describe what that is in your vision in one single sentence. You know, I love Walt Disney's concept. That model is almost perfect. He created an amusement park with one vision: to make people happy. And if you use that example of an amusement park and you ask yourself about your practice and your business, why would people come to your amusement park? Why would they go to Disney World instead of somewhere else? That taps into the conversation we're going to have about brand insistence in the Q&A section. And I think that is real vital to any professional, any business, any dental practice, or any other business that we function in. And that's what gives you that brand insistence and that edge. And it starts with the vision. So it's a great example of anyone examining their own. And it needs to be a little bit long-term. Most of the clients that I work with call me based on the model of how I work with doctors, and that's what I cultivated. It's my model. I stick to it. I don't deviate from it. A lot of other consultants in the industry bring purpose and direction as well as I do. And we all have something to make a contribution to dentists who we want to see be successful and be significant long after they're gone because of how they were, that others are able to talk about them. And that's a huge driving momentum and a driving force, and it's related to the vision. You know, the vision goes on after you. Walt Disney's been dead a long time, and it's still going strong. And that is a true example of passing the baton. And so I love to lay out for my clients a 5 to 7 year plan. It's not just about fixing a problem. I always ask them, where do you want to be in 7 years? How do you see yourself? What does that look like for you in and out of the office? Financially, what does that look like? And so all those elements come into that defined vision. You know, it's just something that sometimes people don't audibly convey, and they need to. So you ask them and you question them. Practical systems, this is how to create them. The right people in the right place, meaning the physical building, and job tasks, not just job description. The process of not only your daily operations, but the process of patient care and the supporting technology. Only 1% of the dental practices today, according to the Institute of Dental Informatics at the University of Pittsburgh, state that dental practices are what we call chartless and paperless. So there's a long way for us to go in our industry to have our technology really serve us and the patients in an efficient manner so that it really does allow for optimum outcome and overall health care, not just oral health care. So these practical systems are the forefront of what I use when I start working with clients, and that is I look at the function of these 4 areas, and then I look at how we need to restructure this and prepare the practice for transition. If it's not structured correctly before the transition, it's totally chaotic during and after the transition. More people, more patients, more leadership creates more confusion. So fundamentally, I would say right now, point 1 is if you're considering any kind of transition of bringing in an associate, merging, selling, acquiring, you need to be really prepared to do that in your own facility so that when that occurs, you're ready to receive the influx of what that's going to bring. And more than that, the team that's there that you can prepare to receive that, they'll be a better asset to help bridge that momentum. So I always love this part of it, even though it's the hard part. And people don't like change, but that's what it takes. And you have to sort of go with it. There's always a creative and innovative mode for transition. And if you want to get creative, that's the lower risk end of it. If you need to look at innovation, that's the higher risk end of it. And what I see in the industry is that people follow other people. And if you know someone that has already gone through it, you always talk to them to see how it was for them. You ask them about the company they used, the broker they used, how uncomfortable or how great it was, and what worked for them and what didn't work, and then you base decisions on that. And I think that risk management is the key element and point here, is that no matter what you decide to do, always manage the risk to minimize what the ramifications will be and could be. And again, it goes back to the 4 key elements of what that entails, and that is your people, the process, the place, and the supporting technology. Recently, right now I'm working with an office that has 2 locations and preparing to build a $3 million practice to merge the 2. And we are already within 30 days functioning as if we were one practice, even though the locations are not the same. So that has been a huge catalyst to control overhead with staff and to use technology in one location as if we were in one location, and not really have, and really establish almost a seamless merger already, even though we have people going to 2 different locations. So it's been challenging, but it has been really exciting, and I have to say it has streamlined everything for this entire 3-doctor team, and they love it. So we're real excited about that, and it can be that easy for you too. This is the biggest gap I see in the supporting technology of what we're challenged with in dentistry, and it goes back to the dental informatics. And all that is the transference of information. And it's something medical is far beyond us in, but it is about science and outcome. And in practice transition, this has to be considered because of patient information and the merger of those charts and the data and everything else. And I wanted to just point this out real quickly. And the science part is the diagnosis and the evidence-based research. It is about best practices. And the other end of this is really about, the outcome. Because we want patients to be happy, and we want them to be transformed physically, emotionally, and that's part of why they seek us out at whatever level. And that's why they stay with practices in transition. And that is what we consider the goodwill. And the goodwill can transfer with you, or it can depart from you. And I'll give you 3 points right now. The insurances of that is A, your dental team around you and the relationship capital that they have. B, the reputational capital that you bring to the table as a physician and as a team, and the people you have already served. And then C would be the financial profitability that allows you to continue to benefit, advance, and reinvest in things that make it better and better as the acquisition and merger takes place and as the transition settles into the new now. So that's real key points. And your objectives always in practice transition involve the people, the internal processes, the customers, and then the financial profitability. And sometimes that's what drives transition choices. I believe transition choices at a time and period, when is it the right time? I always ask a doctor what drives them. If whatever age they are, it could be they don't want to practice by themselves anymore. It could be, maybe they want to diversify. There's all kind of reasons what brings them to a point of decision. And I think it's important that they confer with brokers or specialists or people that have the knowledge that can at least walk them through the thought process to get to a point of, okay, I'm ready to pull the trigger and make the first step. And the first step is preparing your team and the practice to receive what it is you're going to do. And that can be, like I said before, very painful, but it is definitely better in the long run. So success and culture and significance, this, people want to love where they work. They want three things always. They want mastery of what they do, they want autonomy, and they want purpose. And when your people are able to get that where they are, they will be a part of that momentum to support you in any decision you make. And that's what really is one of the key things that makes transition successful, and that is the people. And I would recommend and really ask any office that I take my offices to a SWAT, and we look at strengths and opportunities and weaknesses and threats, and then we sort of analyze all that. We fix anything that's not really in place before we step into the next thing. It's a great workshop. It's a great way to figure things out, and everybody engages. The level of engagement that you as a leader or your team members have really gives you the optimum outcome for success. And these 5 steps here are real easy before you go live. Is that be specific with your vision and your dream and your plans. Be specific with the tasks that you need to accomplish. And if you can't measure anything, it's not real. So always start with what your data and your numbers are. Your numbers are just the end result of the level of patient care and provision that you're doing right now where you're at. So measure that so that when you begin to change things, you can see what the outcome was and you know you're moving in the right direction. I always create an action to be taken checklist, and that checklist can be in any department by anybody. It can be business, it can be patient related, it can be departmental focused, it can be marketing focused, whatever it is, whatever actionable part that needs to happen, write it down, put a name by it, and then you know who's responsible, and put a time map with it. It's a timeline. They're milestones, and it's the by when. And if it doesn't happen by then, renegotiate another milestone. So those are real simple things that can continue to keep everybody rolling in a momentum. And lastly, I would say in closing that whatever questions you have, how you get your team aboard and how you move ahead is that you know how to engage them at the level you desire to participate yourself. And that is always key. So thank you, Alex, for allowing me to share a few tips.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some amazing information, and one of the things that I talk about in the ebook that we offer is dental mindset, and I think that you really hit. It's so important that you start there, and you're talking about visionary aspects. That no matter how much you market and money you spend, or even focus on management, it starts with your vision, and then it trickles down. And I think that we lose sight of that sometimes. So, but it's the most important.
Yeah, it is. And visions, they build on each other. You can change a vision. I mean, they have to expand and breathe and live, and that's the most important thing. It doesn't mean if I decide something today, that's what it's going to be 3 years from now. We hope that it cultivates and expands so that, it keeps getting to where, it makes it very possible for more people to be successful and to be significant in the lives of those that they touch.